Hello there, this is Father Ken Lau, and welcome to the new episode of Nuggets for the Soul. And I just came back from my annual retreat in Combermere, Ontario, where the Companions of the Cross has a spiritual formation house. And I stayed in a postina, a wooden cabin with no electricity and Wi-Fi. And so I used the book Abandonment to the Divine Providence by Father John Pierre de Caussade, a Jesuit priest, a French Jesuit priest in the early 18th century. Okay, and I made a video out of that. So I really like that book, and it really talks about there's only one thing necessary to do, which is the will of God, and doing the will of God, comes in doing the duty of the present moment. Okay, and in that book it says there that leave the past to the infinite mercy of God, the future to His good providence, give the present wholly to His love by being faithful to His grace. So beautiful. And there's different translation of this book. One is by Kitty Muggeridge, the wife of Malcolm Muggeridge, and the title of her book is The Sacrament of the Present Moment. And there's another one that is a more modern translation, which is The Joy of Full Surrender. Okay, and Father John Pierre Caussade also wrote spiritual letters to the Visitation Sisters, and Kitty Muggeridge also made a translation of that called The Spiritual Letters by John Pierre de Caussade. So I really encourage you to read the book and also the spiritual letters. And our founder, Father Bob Bedard, founder of the Companions of the Cross, would also preach on this. He says, and this is his famous quote. He says, "Lord, I give you permission to do whatever you want in my life. Whatever you ask me to do, Lord, I will do it." Okay, because for him it says, the will of God is the only thing worth doing. Okay, and so that's and also let's also abandon ourselves to the permissive will of the Lord. Sometimes He would permit suffering to happen in life. Of course, that's not His active will. He doesn't want His children to suffer, but because of the consequence of sin, we experience suffering. And for us, it's our human nature to resist suffering. But suffering is beneficial for our soul. It lets our self-love die. The old person in us would die so that the new person would come to life. So it's a form of purification that the Lord will detach ourselves from our attachment and also from self-love, so that we would we would attach ourselves more to Him. And the greatest model for that is really Mary. Okay, Mary. We just celebrated the solemnity of the Annunciation, and in the Annunciation, the angel Gabriel told her that she would become the mother of the Son of God. And although she professed to become a virgin for the rest of her life, she didn't understand how it will happen. But she said, "Behold, the handmaid of the Lord, be it done to me according to your word." And and for us, we struggle. I struggle to do the will of God. I have many attachments. I fall into sin. That's why we need to ask the intercession of Mary to really help us obey the will of God in the present moment, one day at a time. And when we do that, we grow in holiness. And when we experience fullness of life and fullness of joy. Because when we do the will of God, we become one with Him. And He is the Prince of Peace. So we will experience peace. Okay, and He also says that, I've come so that you will experience fullness of life and fullness of joy. And we experience that, as we become more and more united to Him. From the book Insigno Jesu, Private Revelation given by Jesus to a Benedictine monk, from page 131. This is the prayer that Jesus asked the priest and all of us to pray, to say in all circumstances of life. "My Jesus, only as Thou wilt, when Thou wilt, and in the way Thou wilt, to Thee be all glory and thanksgiving, who rules all things mightily and sweetly, and who fills the earth with Thy manifold mercies." So I hope you get a copy of that book, either The Sacrament of the Present Moment or The Joy of Full Surrender. And also, if you want, you could also read the spiritual letters by John Pierre de Caussade. Be a living saint. Jesus, Mary, Joseph, we trust in you.